भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वगतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो ह्य भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, verse 45-46. Maitreya Uvacha iti Bruvanam Nrupatim Pitrudeva Dvijatiyaha Tusurvurustamana Manasaha Sadhuvadena Sadhavaha. Synonym Maitreya Uvacha. The great sage Maitreya continued. Speak. Iti. Thus, Bruvanam, while speaking, Nrupatim, the king, Pitra, the denizens of Pitraloka, the demigods, Deva, the demigods, Vijatiyaha, the twins born, the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, Tutsuvuhu, satisfied, Krishna Manasaha, greatly pacified in the mind, Sadhuvadena, by expressing congratulations, Sadhavaha, all the saintly persons present. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The great sage Maitreya said, after hearing King Pitu speak so nicely, all the demigods, the denizens of Pitraloka, the Brahmanas, the saintly persons present at the meeting congratulated him by expressing their goodwill. Purport. When a person speaks very nicely at the meeting, he is congratulated by the audience, who expresses their goodwill with the words sadhu sadhu. This is called sadhuvada. All the saintly persons, pitas, denizens of Pitraloka and demigods were present at the meeting and heard Prithu Maharaja expressed their goodwill with the words sadhu sadhu. They all accepted the good mission of Prithu Maharaja and they were fulfilled. They were fully satisfied. Putrena jayate lokaniti satyavati srutihi brahmadanda hata papo yadveno chataratamaha. Putrena, by the son, jayate, one who becomes victorious, lokan, all the heavy planets, iti, thus, satyavati, becomes true. Shrutihi, the Vedas, Brahmadanda, by the curse of Brahmanas, Adaha killed, Pabaha, the most sinful. Yet, Yaz, Venaha, the father of King Maharaja Prithu, Ati great, Adarat became delivered, Tamaha from the darkness of hellish life. They all declared that Vedic conclusions that one can conquer the heavenly planets, and the action of a putra or son was fulfilled for the most sinful Vena, who had been killed by the curse of Brahmanas, who was now delivered from the darkest region of hellish life by his son Maharaja Prithu. Purport. According to Vedic version, there is a hellish planet called Put, and one who delivers a person from there is called Putra. The purpose of marriage, therefore, is to have a Putra, a son who is able to deliver his father, even if the father falls on to the hellish condition of Put. Maharaja Prithu's father, Vena, was the most sinful person and was therefore cursed to death by the Brahmanas. Now, all the great saintly persons, sages, and the Brahmanas present in the meeting, after hearing from Maharaj Prithu about his great mission in life, became convinced that the statement of the Vedas had been fully proved. The purpose of accepting a wife in religious marriage, as sanctioned in the Vedas, is to have a putra, a son qualified to deliver his father from the darkest region of hellish life. Marriage is not intended for sense gratification, but for getting a son fully qualified to deliver his father. But if his son is raised to become an unqualified demon, how can he deliver his father from hellish life? It is therefore the duty of a father to become a Vaishnava and raise his children to become Vaishnavas. Then, even if by chance the father falls into hellish life in his next birth, such a son can deliver him, as Maharaj Prithu delivered his father. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashade Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा रामा हरे हरे. I would like to seek blessings from the Tamil Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcoming or adding my own interpretation. I did obtain this purport after going through some of the teachings from Rajendra Nandana Prabhu. As we saw in text 46, we saw King Prithvi Maharaj father, King Vena. Well, he's not a good person and he's rather a very bad person. He not only killed people, but he also stopped rishis and munis to perform their sacrificial yagnas and also stopped them to worship the supreme person of Godhead. While King Vena did not realize his duties as a king, but in turn he became a very bad king. The Brahmanas who became impatient killed him. Now, what we see here is King Vena was able to get the punishment. He did not think that he would occur, as he thought he was very powerful. What is just mentioned is just a bad side, but the good side, King Prithu, son of King Vena, who was quite opposite in terms of qualities and character, and who was not only worshipped supreme person of Godhead, he was a good king, unlike King Vena. He respected every living being on earth, and because of the son doing all the pious activities and also being respected, the father King Vena no longer had to go to hell, as he has delivered one son who is very pious. The speaker also gives a difference between what is a Vedic culture and what is Vaishnavism. During his speech, he says that Vedic culture emphasizes rituals, sacrifices, and the personal Brahman, while Vaishnavism centers on the personal God, Vishnu, and his avatars, particularly Krishna and Rama, with a focus on devotional practice like chanting and bhakti, like loving devotion. Now, uh, we can see an instance that happened to one of a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. One of the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada's father expired, and indeed it was natural for him as a son to go and to perform his last rituals. We also saw the same in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya's father dies, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes and comes to the last rites of his father. However, in this case, Srila Prabhupada did not allow him to go or perform the last rituals. Rather, he was asked to stay back with the Prabhupada and said, serve me and serve me. He says, stay with me and serve me. Now, why is that? If you want the root of a tree, the branches, leaves. If you want the root of a tree, the branches, the leaves, and the fruits attached to the tree and the roots will all get benefited. If Lord Krishna, the supreme person of Godhead, is worshipped and pleased, Lord Krishna can bless the devotee and fulfill the desire or wish of anyone, and there is nothing impossible for Lord Krishna. Now, let's not think that the disciple did not complete his duties or did not follow the scriptures, which would result in further would suffer, and this would not happen because he was suffered by the following as he followed the scripture injunctions. If you can worship if you worship Mukunda, you will no longer have to follow forefathers to demigods, to the sages, and to the general living entities. Because if death is since the death is paid in full by Lord Krishna himself. Speaker also mentions one thing in this speech. Let's look at the following verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66. Sarvadharman parijatya mamekam saranam braja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshasyami masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear, is what Lord Krishna mentioned. Yes, it begins from a purport. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and process of religion, knowledge of supreme Brahman, knowledge of super soul, different types of orders, stages of social life, knowledge on the renounced order life, and knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. Here described so many different things and then summarized in Bhagavad Gita. What it does mean is that Lord Arjuna should give up all the process that I've explained to him and he should simply surrender to Krishna. The surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions. Now, in this case, Arjuna was fearing whether to wage a war on his enemies in which there also he also sees his forefathers and relatives and teachers. But unlike Lord Krishna said, just surrender unto me, do your duties. Nothing will happen to you. The speaker I need to say that if you have a devotee in the family and we seriously do not know how fortunate we are. And example is like if you're sick and you want to take a medicine, you go to a doctor whom you don't know, but you still trust doctor because he's an expert in medicine, and you take medicine, you become healthy. So by the activities of the Lord and the devotees that we do, chasing Krishna is as simply as a chanting, which is nothing but the mention here, the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now let's come back to the story of the senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And here the disciple requested Prabhupada to perform a nice benediction as his father died. Srila Prabhupada offered a nice prayer where Lord Krishna was also preached, and then he will give his devotees, he will give the benediction to the departed soul. We also see a similarity here with Prahlad Maharaj. Now, unlike King Prithu, whose father is demon king, here Prahlad Maharaj father is also demon. However, Prahlad Maharaj father was killed by Lord Nrsimhadeva. And what did Prahlad Maharaj requested? Nothing from this material world, just I would say, I wish to serve the Supreme Person of Godhead and nothing else. That was so generous of Prahlad Maharaj. Now, moving on to the story, there is another verse related to the current context from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Text 8. Tata te nunkapam su samiksamano bhujana evatma kritam vipakam tudvag vapur vidadam namaste jiveta yo muktipade sa daya bhak. The translation of this sloka is, My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances, his heart, words, and body, it should be eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. In the commentary, Sridhara Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son will simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of person of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. A sincere devotee earnestly desires to go back to Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues offering respects and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, words, and body. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord, considering all hardship, a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord, certainly becomes the legitimate son of God, as indicated here by the words Dayabhak. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the Supreme Person of Godhead, Lord Krishna, without undergoing a rigid purification process, which may lack suffering, but which is in fact a curative treatment administered with the personal hand of the Lord. The speaker continues to talk about eternal devotee. An eternal devotee refers to a devotee who is considered to have attained a state of spiritual perfection and unwavering love for Krishna. They are believed to have transcend and are permanently associated with Krishna in the spiritual world. They have relationship with Krishna as the eternal devotees are seen having a deep and intimate connection with Krishna, characterized by love that is pure, that is both pure and boundless. They are not bound by the limitations of the material world, such as suffering, ignorance, and attachment to the physical realm. They are considered to be highly advanced in their spiritual journey and have attained a state of enlightenment and freedom from cycle of birth and death. Last but not the least, the concept of eternal devotee is rooted in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which describe the nature of devotees and their relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. The speaker also mentions that in the current material world, what is lacking, with the example of King Prithu Maharaj and King Vena, and then the current material world. What is lacking in this world is devotion to Supreme Lord, the Supreme Godhead, Lord Krishna. So let us continue our devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, even which Srila Prabhupada mentions in one of his purport in the Bhagavad Gita. I would like to stop here. Thank you for giving me an opportunity